view here. I guess that's the position. Okay, we're on the third floor, of course. Some of you probably haven't seen this area. We used to stream from here quite a bit when I was doing some printing on a certain unnamed print that shall remain unnamed last November and December. I was here many days. I'm up in the printer's room. I don't want to move the computer around too much. Behind me there's the printing bench that belongs to, I don't know, nowadays China's using it. That used to be Ayumi-san's workbench in this one. And then over in that corner, that's Sugi-san's workbench over in that corner. And then to my right, past the camera, that's Ishikawa-san's workbench. The place I'm sitting right now is the place that Kawai-san has recently been camping out to do some printing many evenings. I myself don't have a workbench anymore. I've got a space out in Ome that's still, that used to be my workbench. So I'm going to make do. I'm going to camp out here on this space this morning and do what I can do. What we're doing is the share certificate. I prepared the sample print a while back. This is actually the first one off the boards. This is the first of the share certificates. It's come out very well. It's woodblock printed in this section only, but it gives the impression that the whole thing actually is woodblock printed. The rest of the course is done with inkjet. And we tested various types of paper, we tested various types of settings on the inkjet printer, and settled on one specific type of paper we're using from the Awagami company here in Japan. That paper arrived last week, 100 sheets of it, and one of our girls did some test printing the other day, and she did it okay, but she screwed up a little bit, or whatever. I didn't do the preparation well enough. And she prepared a bunch of these things, and they're okay, but there's two things. One, they're misregistered, and she got the thing in the wrong place. There's a small gap here and a large gap here. So my first job this morning with these blocks is I'm going to have to move the registration marks to where I think they should be, and then do a just test printing. And if it looks good, I'll just go ahead and run. So the first few minutes here are going to be fooling around. I've got to move the registration marks here, which will be a little bit finicky. Then do a couple of tests on a piece of blank white paper. I must have some paper here. Let's see. So, just do a couple of position tests and then get going with the printing work. We've got to move it about 1 millimeter in. So the simplest way to do that might be just to, let's try this. We haven't actually even cut registration marks on this block yet. We're just using pieces of tape till we get it sorted out. Very high tech. People are asking what I'm doing, but actually I put a streamer here at the bottom. Is it, not everybody can see that? I know I've got that thing running pretty much every day explaining what I do, and yet we still get lots of people asking, what am I doing? I know, is that not visible in many people's video? Yeah, I'm not getting on. I'm just curious how it works. And I think people are seeing this on desktop, and some people are seeing it on mobile. And I guess the mobile version maybe is a bit different. I don't know. Okay. What we're going to do here is I've got some pieces of paper. I've got a couple of pieces here that she did test printing on. She did some inkjet printing and she did a couple of test pieces. And I'm going to use this as a help to see if I can get the layout ready. Where's a piece of? Here we are. I'm just going to do a layout test with the new registration marks. No pigment, we're just using a Karazuri just to emboss it here to see if I'm roughly in the right place. I think I am roughly in the right place. I can't see detail yet, but I think I'm good to go. Let's try a test run on these things. I got 40 sheets in here, but I'm just going to do 3 or 4 or 5 at the beginning as a rough test to see if I'm lined up. Something I've read before. Yeah, okay, whatever. Right. The ticker tape part of OBS. Yes, it's one of the features of OBS. I can put this in and turn it off, and I can program a bunch of different ones. I've got one here that's for today, and I've got this one that sets up how you do questions. One is that points people to the visitor map. It's part of OBS. And again, this isn't my bench, so nothing is where I expect it to be. I need some water here. Kawai-san, he's got some water, okay. These tests have inkjet work already on them, but that's just a test sheet. The real sheets, which I'll do a few now, don't have the inkjet done yet. For the real printing here, we have to do the woodblock part first and the inkjet part second, and that's not our choice. To do the woodblock part, we have to moisten the paper, and if we did that with the inkjet part already printed, of course it's a disaster. It's going to blur and smear the inkjet printed portion. So what we're doing for most of these, not those test sheets you just saw, but most of the certificates will be done this way. We're going to print the woodblock part first, and then the inkjet part. But I'm really worried about the location on the sheet, which is why I've got a couple of test sheets in there to show how the location is going to work. I think I'll just run 5 sheets here for a test. The comments are going pretty fast. The lighting here, we're in the north facing room here, which is really good. It's pretty much essential for this. But the lighting in this room actually is a bit of a mix. You know, the windows are wide open at my left hand side, which gives us a north sky, natural light coming in. But then the room itself, we've got very, very strong LEDs. You can perhaps see up on the corner behind me, there's a strong long LED. And there's another one on this side. So they give the basic, and we've chosen LEDs that have a quasi-natural light. So they're not a blue cast or a yellow cast. So far that's pretty natural. And then each bench has a light. You can't see it with the camera, but there's a light hanging over the bench here. And this one's a bit yellower than I like. We tried to find, again, a natural light, but this one's a bit of a yellow tone. So we sort of have to remember, if we're doing work that's mission critical on the color tones, we can't just test it here. We have to, hold it up and look at it from other light. This is really soft paper. It's such thin stuff, this Awagami paper, the one we chose. It gets soggy very easily. You have to be really careful not to over moisten it. Alright, there's 5 sheets on the key block. Let's flip them over and do the same 5 sheets on the blue. Plus the 2 tests. Share certificates. I think the official name is Share in the Fund certificates. These are not share certificates in the sense of actually owning part of our business, of course. Gotta carve this a bit deeper. I think. Now I need some pigment. What do we got? Again, this is not my bench. Kawai-san's got some stuff here he was using for different work. Let's try using some of this pigment here. Piece of scrap paper here. Get something a bit dirtier in there, I think. Questions? Do you have a preferred newspaper? What do you mean preferred newspaper? Just our daily newspapers. This is the daily newspaper I read every morning. People have always asked about the newspaper. They're asking, does the newspaper pigment come into the prints? And no, it doesn't. No, not here with the newspapers that we have in Japan anyway. It doesn't transfer. When we read our newspaper, our hands don't get black. Well, let's try and see what the location's like. Let's see. Too much stuff in the way here. Location seems good. So far, so good. It's centered, I think. It's up on the circle, I think. Location looks good. Let's go for this. I need a better blue though. got to trim a tiny bit off this block here, but I don't have my knife with me, so I got to scoot downstairs for a minute and get my knife. Back in a moment, please. Alright, I think I'm good to go. Alright, now we need color, better color. Okay. That color. We've got two different blues, so we're going to mix these together, I think. Okay, where's my brush? Let's go. Alright, I think we're in. We have a rich Hokusai blue sky. Good, let's do this thing. Registration set. Paper moistened. Let's go. Okay, looking good so far, but I'm really nervous about how the red will line up with it, so I'm not going to go ahead and do all 40 at this point. We'll stick with this batch of 2 tests plus 5. Move ahead to the next color here. Registration using a piece of tape as registration. It's not a lot accurate, so. Next test. Red brush, chalk. Dave, is Kubota-san the proper spelling of his name? Kubota, yeah. K-U-B-O-T-A, yes. I don't know, I'm missing a bunch of stuff here, but whatever. Our printer Kubota-san is Kubota, K-U-B-O-T-A in Roman letters. Not temporary Kento, real Kento. All of this is because we couldn't get Photoshop or any other Adobe software to print the inkjet portion in the place we wanted it on the paper. I had originally carved a set of registration marks here in what I thought was a reasonable location, thinking that when it came time to print the inkjet part, I could use the printing driver to adjust the position of the inkjet part to match what I had done with woodblock, because it's much easier to type numbers into a printer driver box than it is to adjust registration marks on a piece of wood. That was a foolish move. That software wouldn't let me do that. And the combination of the software and printer driver. So we just gave up on that. We tried, I tried and tried and tried. And I could not get the Adobe software plus the printer driver to reliably put the image in a certain position on the paper. So what we've done is we found a way to just print it in a stable position. We have a setting we've worked out. It just prints it now on the inkjet every time in the same place, the same place, the same place, the same place. I've got 2 of those sheets. I brought them here. 2 of those sheets which are stable. We can reproduce that anytime. And now I've moved our woodblock registration marks so that the thing matches this. So the Adobe software has beaten me. It became the master copy. And I'm the slave. I had to follow it. I wasn't able to tell it what I wanted it to do. So we've rebuilt our own system here. In other words, we've moved the registration marks. Dei-chan tried it. She cut some new ones in there. They were in the wrong place. She just didn't have the experience to do it. So I cut hers off this morning. I just took a chisel and just ripped them off. Drew some lines where I thought they would be. Did a test print. And now that I know where I should be, I've put tape in. And the printing paper will simply slide into this tape, click, click, and there we go. We have what I think is a set of registration marks that will work for this. Don't know what you guys are talking about, but go for it, go for it, go for it. What am I doing now? I'm printing the red. And now that registration is keyed, I can now concentrate on figuring out what color I need, how to get a good smooth color, and get this thing up and running. How many hours, I was going to say how many hours have we wasted on this. It's an important project. People are waiting for these prints. We have to make them as nicely as we can. I nearly said, how many hours have I wasted on this? How many hours have I spent on this? Excuse me. Rice paste, it's rice paste, yes. Wouldn't be the first time Adobe and an inkjet has beaten the operator. No, and it won't be the last time either. So, I get it. I mean, they have to build systems that work for everybody under many different circumstances. So I don't, whatever. Just, I couldn't get it to work. Maybe if I'd spent longer at it or whatever, I don't know. The problem with those printers and drivers is, of course, every time you change printers or every time you upgrade your OS, bang, you're back to the beginning again. Oh, sir, this is Cameron-san coming in the back here. You're good timing, sir. You've just catching me when all the cursing is over.
Oh, I was there.
Oh, just fixing the registration on these share certificates. You know.
Ah.
We've had to, Adobe won the war. That's where the position is going to be, where Adobe wants it to be, and the 300-year-old woodblock tradition will have to just simply match what Adobe says. This is where that image is going to go on this piece of paper. So.
That's too bad.
Can you come and say hello behind me?
Okay.
Here?
Morning, everyone.
Sorry. Your Cameron comes in the morning, kneels down and says hello to the boss. We had that thing with Kawai, and I finally got him to stop doing that.
Oh, really?
You know,
Because he always comes in and bows. And
it was cool. It was just polite. He's just doing normal. It's
Yeah.
totally normal politeness, but it became too much of a thing, and
Yeah.
it became enforced. And every day got lower and lower and lower,
Yeah.
and these guys are waiting for it. So and it's giving people a bit of a wrong impression about what life is like here in Japan. Do you see where we are today? What we're doing?
Have you told them about
no,
that?
no, I didn't mention it, but
Oh.
you can tell it whatever. I'm busy here.
I didn't notice until he
No,
pointed it
can
out.
we move it?
but
Sit somewhere where you can get
Yeah.
a good view here. So.
I did not notice it until he pointed it out, but there is an Ethernet cable out the window going down to the second floor.
Hanging over the edge of the balcony.
Yeah,
so
hanging out
in the
over
rain.
The balcony, yes. Rainy season, I think, has officially begun. It's wet. But
It's all to serve you properly, right?
Yeah.
It's all for them. You know. What kind of speed did we get today with this? That's here. That's the.
oh, it's okay.
That's okay. It's okay.
Downloads only over 400.
But when you think what that is that's coming out of the side of my computer, hanging over the balcony, going down one floor in the rain, plugging into the router at the bottom.
Yeah.
We had a really, really interesting day here yesterday.
Really?
Like, whatever, I can tell you the story at the same time I'm telling these guys
Yeah.
the story, you know. Get this out of the way here. Paper, you know, I don't know what you opted. Maybe you don't know about the visitors yesterday. Was this scheduled before you left on Friday? I don't know. The visitors, you don't know about this. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. You know we got the Kozo fiber downstairs.
Yes, yeah.
The guy his farm, Imai-san, the guy who grew it,
Yeah.
came yesterday.
Oh, these are the people in Niigata, right?
Niigata, yes.
Oh,
he's in
that was a
Niigata.
long trip?
So, well, he wasn't in just to see me. He's got a bunch of other stuff going
Oh,
on.
okay.
Whatever. And he came with Moriki-san, the broker, the guy who introduced us.
Oh,
the
okay,
guy
yeah.
who we are paying, the guy who's in between with us.
Yep.
And they also brought with him a gentleman called Paul. He gave me his meishi.
Not a Japanese name.
No, I know. And I don't remember his name, I'm sorry. He gave me his meishi downstairs. He was part of the conversation.
Okay.
He's living in Tokyo. He has a connection. He came on a Monbu Kagakusho X years ago,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is this deal where the Japanese government brings foreign students in to let them do a degree here in Japan and
Yep.
whatever. And his field was Japanese paper making. He spent a lot of his time up there in places like Iwano-san's workshop and other workshops up there.
Huh.
I think he said he spent a total of 4 or 5 years up there
Wow.
studying and working on learning about traditional Japanese paper making.
Yeah.
I think he came to it from the Timothy Barrett, the guy over in Idaho,
Okay.
who, before my time, came to Japan and studied paper making up there and wrote a book about it.
Huh.
Somebody can Google this. I think it's called Japanese Paper Making. Anyway, Barrett, B-A-R-R-E-T-T, Timothy Barrett. And it's the go-to book for research in English on Japanese paper making.
Huh.
It's a bit out of date now, but whatever, Japanese paper making is not out of date. You know. Anyway, so-
It hasn't changed too much.
So Barrett's work is the core of the stuff available in English. And he went back after his time in Japan, went back to, I think it's the University of Idaho,
Okay.
and set up some kind of paper making facility there. He took back seeds and stuff and grew mulberry fiber back there and tried to make an indigenous paper over in America. And I guess he's still doing it. Maybe he's retired now. And he worked not so much in a shokunin sense to try and make paper to sell to everybody, but in terms of an art sense to make paper for artists to use to do
Okay.
installations and whatever. I don't really know much detail about it. Anyway, Paul came through there, came to Japan, ended up being up in Fukuoka paper. So he knows
Yeah.
a whole bunch now about how traditional paper is made. I don't know what he's doing for a living at the moment, but anyway, he was part of this group that came over to get involved in our attempt to get
Yeah.
involved in the Japanese papermaking industry. Long story short, coincidentally, the print party that was happening at 2:30 was a guy called, and I can say his name, Nicholas Cladis, C-L-A-D-I-S. He has a website, I don't know it, maybe somebody can look it up, Nicholas Cladis. And he is now in his 5th year of living in that same village, trying to learn how to be a papermaker in the traditional
Just
sense.
coincidental.
Just coincidentally, on the same day, in the same damn
So-
print party.
Did they know him?
They knew of him. They had
Okay.
exchanged emails. Paul and Nicholas have exchanged emails, but they hadn't actually met each other. And
That's
they're like,
so funny.
here it is. This is an example of how Mokuhankan is becoming the core place for these things to happen. So anyway, a bunch of conversation happened and why our paper has been troublesome recent years and what are we doing about it and where are we going and Sawaki-san and the Kozo, and we just around and around and around and around and around. And what's come up out of it is a few things. One is we are continuing on our current path. We are working with Sawaki-san to develop a new paper. We are using Iwano-san's paper because it's come back to, using a usable state. We are going to buy the kozo from Imai-san. This is the first batch is here now. The first test batch of kozo will now be sent to Sawaki-san. He's now waiting for it. We have to send him this week 7 kilograms of the 80 kilogram batch we have got, and he's going to make the first batch of test paper with that. I think we're okay. The blue could be trimmed a little bit, I think, but other than that, I think we are good to go. I can run this.
Is this the one Ray was practicing
yeah.
with last week? She was testing out.
Yes, doing a run on it. I mean,
Okay.
she couldn't. The registration is too finicky, and she wasn't able to handle it. So I've basically taken over this job, and
Got it.
I'm going to run it myself. So she tried, but it was just above her experience level. So.
It sounded like you just said you had to readjust all the registration.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was just
so-
it was just too complex for her. It's a simple job in essence, but without too much experience. Whatever.
Feels- Okay.
So I've taken over this job. So she's going to be a bit disappointed when she gets it. Anyway, paper. I don't know, what did I get to? I don't know.
So you're gonna send 7 kilograms over to get a
To
test batch made?
Sawaki-san, yes, to get the first batch made. But then over and above that, I know the gentleman Imai-san who he came to talk about his kozo. He's supplying us with this kozo fiber. His community is also making paper. It's called oguni washi. He left me a bunch of samples yesterday. He's interested in having us look at his paper for use in making our prints. And it's nice paper. It's made from 100% kozo. It's clean, it's clear. It's a more of a natural color than we use. It's a bit of a more
Brown,
yeah, but tannish
Is that right?
sort of color.
Okay.
Yes. And when he showed me the first sheet, like, David, could you use this? I just, without being hostile, held it up to the light, and there is an awful lot of bark scraps still left in it. And then without really saying anything, I showed him a sheet of the paper that we're using, and he saw right away, I see, okay, we will have to change this. There was nothing hostile about it, just
Right.
this is the style we need, and he's making paper different. But his paper it didn't have a ton of bark scraps, but it had just too many fuzz. There would be 1 or 2 dots in the sky, the great wave or something.
Yeah.
I just couldn't use it. But it's not bad paper. It's 100% kozo, no pulp. It looks nice. And although we can't use it, I think I know some people who might be able to use it.
Be interesting.
So we chatted about this. The idea that Moko Hankan here, so far we've been trying to find paper, desperately trying to find paper for our own requirements and discarding everything else. I don't want to see about that or hear about that.
Yeah.
But the idea is now on the table that he's going to send me some different samples that we could look at and buy and present to people out there as being very usable, stable Japanese paper for their own print efforts.
Yeah.
And not that it's B grade or D grade, whatever. It's a different kind of a style of paper. Then Nicholas, who's standing here, says, you're going to try and sell paper and stuff? And Nicholas is now in the position of, after 4 years of study and research, he's now in the process of trying to find the location. He's going to rent an old house up there. He's going to get given a bunch of making gear from collapsed workshops, and he's now going to set up his own workshop to make and sell Echizen Hosho paper. He knows right away. He said, Dave, I don't expect to take over Iwano-san and get your order right away.
Right.
But it's the same story. Even if he's not making paper that's totally, absolutely ready for our use, I know a bunch of other people who would happily take paper that is just not quite ready for us, but that still will make beautiful woodblock prints. So both of these guys, they need business, they need help in getting their paper out into the world.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of people, hundreds of people out there, not just the ones watching the stream here, but the Acolyte page and all this sort of stuff, who would like access to a stable supply of paper.
Yeah.
Where they get 10 sheets and it looks okay and they order 10 more sheets and it's going to be the same kind of paper.
Right.
And we would be able, we would make sure that if once our name goes on it, that we would be able to provide that kind of consistency.
Not like the occasional strips we've been giving away. Just here's some of this
an
size,
actual
and here's
supply.
some of a different
No,
size.
we will
This'll
work it out with
real-
these guys. There will be dimension A, dimension B, dimension C, thickness, and we'll do it sized and unsized. So
Would
we're
they
working.
size or would we size?
Well, both.
Maybe.
We would
Right.
sell it unsized for people that want to. Excuse me. We would sell it unsized for people that want to do it themselves. And I think in our sizing, I'm not sure if I should say this now, but whatever. If I'm doing 50 sheets for her, I can send in 10 sheets for something else or whatever. You know, I can probably prepare some sized paper here. But why would I do this? One, I got to see those workshops survive. You know, if they don't have a market for their paper, they're not going to make it. And we need a bunch of people making paper, not just one Iwano-san workshop that's going to stop at some point. You know?
Yeah.
So this was really, really, really good news from my point of view, I think. You know? And then from our own business point of view, if we expand into making paper, into supplying paper, that's another leg for our own tripod. You know, there we go. We're in the tool business. Next up is we get the brushes going and get the knives going, and away we go.
Yeah.
Now that's what happened last night. There's no contract signed and no agreements. Just they're going to send me their samples. Nicholas is not ready for that yet, but
Yeah.
he's now going to work towards that. Imai-san is going to send me some samples right now. And then also Sawaki-san, the paper he makes, also that could go into our paper for sale
Yeah.
batch. So without wanting to sort of tease the group out here or leak anything, it looks like we will become a paper supplier, I think, over the course of the next few months. Nicholas Cladis, C-L-A-D-I-S. He gave me his Meishi. I don't have it in my pocket. And he said he had a website, but I didn't have time last night to look it up before I crashed. So, has somebody found that on a website for the guy? Kickstarter.com projects Nicholas Cladis.
Oh.
Kickstarter?
He's got a Kickstarter
Or
campaign.
had.
Yeah, good. I can't tell from here. Huh.
So anyway, it was very, very, very interesting. You know,
Sounds like it.
I went to dinner with Nicholas. The other guys couldn't stay because they're heading back to Niigata this evening, or Imai-san was heading back to Niigata in the evening.
Yeah, and that's a long ride out to where they are.
Got to get a weaker burn here. It was a softer burn. But Nicholas too, he's going back to Fukui last night. So
Wow.
he stayed, we ate dinner, and he's watching his watch, and he said he had to be at Tokyo Station by 8.
Ah,
And I'm astonished. You can be at Tokyo Station by 8 and and sleep in Fukui. That was impossible in the old days.
yeah, they.
You had to leave here around noon.
Yeah, just 2 years ago maybe, they added an extension to the Shinkansen line that leads almost all the way there. I think it reaches Kanazawa now. So that's
Yeah, no, he's not going that way.
Oh, he's not going that way.
through
He's going
Niigata.
around
He's going to
further.
Maibara.
Wow.
Nagoya Maibara and up.
Oh, okay.
On the, I forget the name of it, there's an El Tokyu line that goes up from Maibara.
Wow.
And eventually it will be replaced by when that Shinkansen comes right down to
yeah.
meet at Maibara. Or I think
Mhm.
they haven't decided which route to go for. It
Yeah.
shoot straight for Kyoto. So no, he went the other way.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the stream here, I guess. Blah, blah, blah,
There,
blah, 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 blah.
there's lots of things going on over there. It looks like. That sounds really interesting and
Yeah,
promising.
yeah,
If,
yeah.
like you said, if the samples look really good when they come.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Because I never really thought about that before. I've been thinking in paper in terms of what we need, and nothing else, and nothing else, and nothing else.
Yeah.
But of course, our requirements are, without wanting to sound pretentious about it, we have the strictest requirements in this country, you know, because of the kind of prints we're making. We need the clear, white, empty space, you know. And not everybody has such strict requirements. They want paper that is attractive, printable, and consistent so that they can, you know, handle it from one sheet to the next sheet to the next sheet and know that it's going to behave the same way when they come back, you know, and be reasonably all the same thickness and reasonably all the same color, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The amount of bark in it, what is killing a print of ours is a tiny fleck of bark in the middle of a great wave sky is perhaps irrelevant to most of these people making these prints. You know.
Yeah.
So I should have sort of put two and two together a bit earlier on that. And parties were insane. There were 4 sold-out parties yesterday, and
4?
Kawai-san and Nakamura-san did them all. And
Wow.
normally we would take turns, or I would do some, but the
Yeah.
shop was so busy. I ended up doing the shop stuff, and then these visitors came, and that was it. I just checked out of life, spent time with these visitors, and Kawai-san and Nakamura-san did all the parties by themselves.
Wow.
Trojan service, Trojan service. Have to remember that at bonus time, or whatever. And they didn't complain. No, you know, just smiled and greeted the customers and bang, went for it.
Let's do this. Let's get started on the next part. Wow.
It's what I mean. It's sort of expected. That's what I would expect from employees. That's
Right.
fine. So in that sense, it's nothing praiseworthy. But they just did it. Bang.
I got the hint. I'll get out of here. I'm just kidding. Go see how our orders are doing.
Yeah, I think you're okay using the machine there. I don't think.
Okay,
it's,
yeah,
I
because you're
imagine
wired
it's
in
gonna
this
interfere
time.
with
Usually when you're up here, you aren't wired in, but somehow. That cable. How long was this one?
I got a 20. I measured it so that I could go from my carving bench up
Yeah.
to the router, which I normally do every
Right.
day stream.
Yeah.
So it's easy. It's
This
mostly
is closer,
up.
yeah. Just a little
yes.
more difficult to swing it around.
I'm a bit more worried about the rain.
Yeah. But looks like it's working great.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Cameron, Sam,
Yes.
you said you're going to check the orders, and there's a note from some guy with some name. It starts with a Q here. I don't know who he is.
Oh yeah.
He says there might be something in there.
All right. Take a look.
I don't know. There's people here who've got everything we've ever made, so I don't know what else is left in the catalog.
Might be something from that room. Okay. Expect an email in a few.
Some guy. Come on, come on, come on. or two, he now says. What's going on here?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think I can guess. You added a new print to show on Friday night. We didn't. Did you Facebook it? No.
Not yet.
We had it.
Oh, wait, no, because it doesn't have a picture yet, so we...
I did that over the weekend.
Oh, then we can announce it.
But we didn't. Are people finding? I opened it. I think I don't know Friday night or Saturday. I did the scanning. I put the image up,
Okay.
and I switched it from pending to available.
Okay. Then
But I didn't blog about it. I didn't talk about it.
all right, let's talk about it. See if we can spell out.
Yeah. The magician. Soka. Is that it?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. He's saying so now. Soka. Soka.
We found it.
But like, okay, without being sarcastic, this is very nice. Thank you very much. Everything else, but like, do people check our site daily to see if there's new prints? Because we're really not doing so much new stuff these days.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the RSS feed. Interesting. Did we hint about it? I don't remember what I did. Interesting. And it's heartwarming that people are so hip on this that they're, guerrilla stalking our site or something. I don't know. We really should have a better feed system for announcing stuff whenever something is changed on the site. But that's a nice little print too. It's funny. We did it first as a New Year card. Would it be 3-4 years ago? And very simple. Because we had to make so many copies of the New Year card, I slimmed it right down. It's just a key block line, and I think we did the background impression in blank. I can't remember. But now when we have to add it to the catalog, we don't need to be so sort of stingy with the impressions. So this one has, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 impressions. It's the key block line. Then there's a nice faint tone in the background, a nice faint tone on his clothes, and then 2 gradations. And it's really an attractive little print. And we've put it up on the wall in the shop now already. And this has become the key print when we show people how embossing works and how the paper has deep richness, because the wave area, the water area that the guy is throwing from his hands really, stands out. Yeah, Twitter. I'm not going to do the Twitter thing. It's just pointless. I'm sorry. I know Twitter would be a place to make announcements. New print has now been up, but I don't want to use Twitter as a sales tool. I don't use it at all, but I don't know. I think that degrades the platform just by using Twitter to make announcements of stuff for sale. Twitter should be something more interesting conversation and witty conversation and stuff like that. And I don't want to degrade it by just announcing new product for sale. I don't think that respects the platform. Not that I know much about it, because I don't use it. I don't tweet myself and I don't read other people's tweets, but just from an outside observation of the platform. Yeah, Instagram would be the place, I guess. I suppose. And Cameron is actually, he's on that. I know he'll be doing that probably within a few minutes. He'll put a picture of the new print up on Instagram. That's the sensible place for it. The reason it didn't happen is we prepared the print last week, but it turned out that I had forgotten to prepare a scan for it. So Cameron was trying to put it online last week, but there was no photograph in the catalog. In fact, he opened it once, found a blank image, and had to shut it down.
Yeah, it was open for like 10 minutes.
So he left a note from me saying, Dave, we need a picture. So I did that over the weekend. I don't quite know when I fit that in. Zombie Dave did it during his sleep or something. I don't know. That's the funniest thing I've heard all week.
Oh, no.
Okay, give me some more. Give me some more. At Real Dave. You got to see this, man. I can't describe it without laughing. I talked about I don't want to tweet. I don't want to use Twitter.
Right.
I don't like it. I mean, I understand it's a valuable platform, but I don't want to use it just to sell stuff and sell stuff and sell
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
New print online.
Mhm.
There should be a space for interesting conversation or
Yeah.
intellectual ideas in short form, whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't want to do Twitter. So somebody has put it. Here we are. Look at this. Where are we? Here. At Real Dave Bull.
Paper has too much bark. Yes, the kinds of intellectual posts you're talking about.
But it's perfect.
It is perfect.
At the real Donald Trump. I mean,
Yes.
so great. So good.
That is great.
I really wish I had owned Twitter, because I would have just put a bullet in that guy so fucking fast. And I don't care if it would have destroyed the platform. No, really. I mean, he's been so good for that platform. He's kept it alive, brought it back to life.
Yeah.
But at what cost to the world? Jack Dorsey should have put a rope around his neck and... Well, I gotta keep quiet. Keep quiet. He's helping destroy civilization by allowing that to continue. Whatever. I should keep quiet. Keep quiet.
Sad.
Sad. So. Oh, Dave Words. Shut it down. Shut it down. Don't put this on YouTube. Whatever.
That example tweet, that was pretty
Yeah.
great.
So. Actually, Cameron, now that I think about it, do you have a Twitter login or something or whatever?
No.
Do we need to get on there and lock down that account before somebody else actually does it?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm speaking online here, loud.
Yeah.
Is there a potential for disaster here?
Could be, but there are ways to get yourself verified and prove that you are who you say you are. So.
Okay. So if
it's not
somebody
verified-
did screw around with us, we can shut it down. You think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The fake digital. So-
They're getting better. Let's make the great wave great again. I should have done this myself. Holy crap, I should have done this myself. No, I wouldn't have been able to. I couldn't have done it. It helps justify the guy, you know.
Oh man.
MGWGA, make great wave great again. Oh, God. Guys, I gotta work here, okay? Where's Hokusai's birth print? I gotta work. I can't see the registration mark. I can't see it. Gotta work by feel here. How many prints am I gonna spoil? You're responsible for it.
You're responsible.
Actually, there's a couple of people on this chat here who are going to be getting these share certificates. So if I screw one up here now, that's yours. How my hands? How's my hand size? Pretty dirty right now, but. Otsuka-san, hello. Oh, she's going to be coming in to sit right behind me. You're going to have a guest here. Namahoso chu. Suga-san's the star. Come in, come in.
あ、おはようございます。どこだ。
Here, 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 here. So,
おはようございます。あ、すごい。やってますな。よいしょ。
this is Suga-san. That's her bench. So here we are.
はい。暑いですね。
I haven't seen half this. Okay, so I'll try and read all this later. I'm sorry. I can't catch all of these things here. Excuse me.
うわ、びしょびしょや。
Ah. Can't see.
すごい。暑いわ。よいしょ。よいしょ。
What's the time? Where are we? 9:18. Ah, Soka, I don't have time to do the next color here, do I? I'm on print party duty. It's Monday today. And I'm on print party duty with Kawai-san. Soka, Soka. Yeah, it's almost sign-off time. There's no way I can do 20 sheets of this blue before I have to go to the print party. So I guess it's going to be wrap it up time here. All right, I know. What will I be doing? Oh, today's Monday. There won't be tomorrow. There won't be a tomorrow. I mean, there will be a tomorrow, but there won't be a.
There won't be.
What, you know what I mean? I know. Wow. I know it's become my week. You know, whatever for you, the weekend's Friday afternoon. You know, you go home Friday,
Right.
and you start a new week Monday. For me, the weekend's Monday evening when we close the shop door. That's the end of my week.
Yeah.
It's not like I have a long holiday or something, but it's the end of the routine cycle. You know.
Yeah.
And I can get up Tuesday morning, no negative feeling here, but I can get up Tuesday morning and think, oh, I don't have to start getting things organized and what am I going to do and how can I make a good stream and stuff like that. So yeah, it's whatever, it's a break, it's a nice break. And then, so okay, where are we? No tomorrow, so can't be helped. This will be finished by then. I cannot wait and leave this till Wednesday. This work is I'll probably be continuing this tonight. Should I? No promises, no promises, but I have to get this work done tonight. What are we talking about? Anything on them, they still look white. I don't know what you're asking about. Again, for people that maybe didn't come in here, we're printing today here the share certificates, a group of them. And so far, here's how they start. One color, the black outline for Mount Fuji. What will come on next is the blue crown of the mountain, and then the red base of the mountain. And after all the woodblock part is done, there'll be 4 impressions of the woodblock. After the woodblock part is done, the key block, the blue, the red mountain base, and the gradation. After that's done, I will be drying the paper, flatten it completely, and that paper then goes into the inkjet printer to get the rest of it printed on, and the result will be our share certificates, which should now be going out to the waiting Patreons sometime in the next few days. It's Monday, I've started this. The first group it's 21 or so in the first group or so, somewhere around there. I'm doing 40 sheets here, but the first group is only like 20.
Yeah, it's in the mid-20s.
Okay, all right, okay. And then next month, just month by month by month. So if I do 40 now, we're okay for a couple of months, probably.
yeah.
Are we? All right, okay. And for those of you who don't know much about it, the same certificate will be in play for 1 year, because the people who get this are Patreons who've been with us for 1 year. And after this has been sent out on 12 consecutive months to whoever has finished their first year, we are then going to keep the background and we are going to carve a new set of blocks for the center. So nobody will get 2 of the same. If you stay with us for more than 1 year at that level, you'll get this one after you hit 12 months, and then you will get the next one, whatever design is. I don't even want to think about that. That'll come later. So that's the story of what's going on here now. It's 9:20, and I really do. I've got to get downstairs because Kawai-san and I are doing parties together today, and he did Trojan service yesterday, so I have to be the leader today. I'm going to sign off and get back to work. Thank you very much. It's been a real fun week. We've had some good streams this week, I think. The quality is really up now due to my... Should we do a promo? I think we can see it. Here it is. It's a little black box. I don't know how far I can stretch this cable. Here it is. Is it upside down? Too bad. It's a Magewell device. USB, what does it say? USB capture HDMI plus, and it works fantastic. It's been plug and play, no settings. It doesn't care whether the camera is on or off. Once the camera is on, it picks up whatever settings it wants to do. It puts out beautifully clear video. It doesn't impact the CPU. Everything happens inside the box itself. Am I being paid to tell you this? No, but buy it, support that company, keep them going. It's a fabulous, fabulous product. Here in Japan, $1,000. Over on Amazon.com, what was it? 350 or something, or whatever, with express shipping to Japan, whatever. And it's worth twice the price for somebody where I sit. I don't know how. Famous last stream words, yes. Okay. Anyway, I do have to get out of here. I've had fun this week and I've had fun today, and I'm going to enjoy reading my new Trumpisms. Please don't take it too seriously. Sugi-san, you going to say goodbye? It's your chance to say goodbye here.
あれどこ
We're
だ
signing off. So,
あーばあ
we're signing off.
こっち
Oh,
あ
yeah.
バイバーイ
そうそうそうそう。One day, you know, いつか、
うん
いつか、
うん
ストリームの方をカメラ置いておいて、すぐさんがやってる間にストリームしましょう。We should
そう
just do it.
朝
We should do it one day. We should just one day leave the camera and just
いつかね
let her do it. We'll see. I'll try and talk her into this. So she says, like, really, one day when? Bye bye, guys. See you later. Thank you. Right. Okay, camera off. Click. Audio is still on, right? I think. Test, yes.
Someone during the stream got the Hokusai magician. Thanks.
Right, it's got, okay, the audio is still on. We're on the, what's it called? Live mic,
Live.
hot mic.
Hot mic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another order, you mean?
Yep. Another one.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry we didn't try and like sell you on the thing. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for supporting our work. Okay, I am out of here. Thank you again. Bye bye.